welcome to video number 5. It has been a minute from I got to sit down and do a video, not for lack of research, but I have been absolutely dying with the cold, and getting on and talking for half an hour would not have been very good for you. It wasn't good for me. I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but as you can tell, I am keeping it chilled tonight, casual, like my Mrs. Hinch loungewear, and her in baggy tails, of course. So yeah, so anyway, welcome to Mums and Murder, and yeah, like I said, video number 5, thrilled to be doing it. Have video number 6 research ready to go as well. It's Saturday night, it's a bit crappy outside, there's a bit rainy, it's a bit not knowing what really to do, as it has been over the last couple of days, so let's hope that you can sit back and relax and enjoy another Mums and Murder. And yeah, we'll just get stuck right in, I think, because it's the best way to do everything as far as I'm concerned. This one is, I did have to laugh when I was watching the interrogation videos, which I'll link down below. You can watch them. It's hilarious. I know that people like to throw around this, they're Karens, the people out there in the world are Karens. Well, she is definitely the Karen of the killer world. It's so funny. And as we get into the story, you'll understand why I'm laughing. It's obviously not funny. What she did wasn't funny, but her reaction to it all is hilarious. The fact that she thought she was going to get away with it was just funny all by itself. So this is the case of Sarah Boone and Jorge Torre Jr. They had been together for 4 years. They lived together. They had a bit of a toxic relationship, one would say. She's a bit of an alcoholic. He's a bit of an alcoholic. There was a lot of physical violence, a lot of mental abuse, I suppose, going on. But they stayed together anyway. It was very, very hard to find any background information on Sarah, so we just have to go with what we have, which is the stuff from the case. She was married. She has an ex-husband. His name is Brian, and he'll pop up later on. And she had one son, who primarily stays with Brian. She was 42 and George was also 42. Like I said, their relationship, very toxic. In 2008 they were both arrested and both charged with battery against each other. There was restraining orders, but sure, they broke those, and it was just one of those relationships. That's just the way it was. So yeah, Sarah, she has one son, like I say, called Lucas, and with her ex-husband. And George, he had 3 children with his ex-wife, which I don't think, from what I picked up on in the videos, that he actually gets to see his children very often, which is possibly understandable, considering he had some issues himself. But still quite sad that they've lost their dad. I would think so anyway. A neighbour had stated that the police were constantly at their door. They were always there. They were always fighting. They were always arguing. So the neighbour said that in the police, they were constantly at the door. So Sarah, during her interrogation, described herself as, now she's 42. She was a straight A student and excels in everything that she does. She is a wonderful mother, and she's just an all-round good person. So she does excel in everything she does, and in this case that includes murder. So yeah. Yeah, she just lives in a delusional world. Like I said, you're just sort of sitting there going, huh? Is she for real? Is that woman real? So yeah, I will link it below. You have to watch. It's a must. It is a must watch interrogation. So George, he worked in an Ace Hardware, and his past relationships were been toxic as well. I assume due to his own issues. That's where the toxicity would have come into. So this will bring us to the 23rd of February 2020. So it's quite a recent one. And according to Sarah, they were having a brilliant day. One of the best days in their relationship that they've had in a while. It was a Sunday. They were just chilling outside, having a few glasses of wine, having a few cigarettes, just chilling outside. Then they're like, we're fed up being outside, let's go in. We'll do some puzzles, we'll do some painting. All sounds like something from a fairy tale book. They had, I think, like the TV going in the background, some music going, because this is what George liked. She did not like that. So one teacher was like, let's turn it off, let's just you and I chat. And she said, no arguments, they had a brilliant day. Did their puzzles, did their painting, got a little bit fed up and decided to play a game of hide and seek. Originally, first off, she hid in the shower and he found her, silly things like that. And then they decided it would be really funny to put George in a suitcase. Yeah. So George got into the suitcase. The suitcase was apparently just sitting there because they were donating it to Goodwill or charity, whatever. And they put him in the suitcase. And this is how Sarah's version of the evening went. So they put George in the suitcase, and Sarah said she went upstairs to get ready for bed, and she ended up falling asleep. She woke up the next morning, just woke up. George wasn't beside her, but she wasn't too worried. She thought he was just downstairs playing on his phone, checking out some jobs, and she said, it was very quiet. So she decided about an hour later she would go downstairs, realising that George then was still in the suitcase all night long. Obviously George at this point was not conscious, so she undid the suitcase, took him out. She says she attempted to give him some CPR. Then she phoned her ex-husband, Brian. Brian comes round and he takes one look at George in the situation and just goes, you need to phone the police. You need to phone 911. You need to do that now. So she phoned 911. The operator on the 911 call was trying to gauge what was going on with George, and she got a little bit snippy with them, is how the only way I can describe it. You know, they were like, you know, is he breathing? Is he conscious? Is his lips blue? Is he cold? You know, can you give him CPR? Count with me, we'll give him CPR. And she's like, he's dead, he's not good. I've told you this, he's dead. Now, bear in mind, this was about 12 o'clock the next day. So he had been in that suitcase all night long. And it was about in around 12, half 12, when she started doing this. It was about 1 o'clock when the police arrived. So, yeah. At this point, like I said, it was around 1 o'clock the next day. As I've said, that interrogation video is just a must watch. It's beyond anything I've ever watched before, as in her reaction to things and her answering. I literally do not know how those detectives kept so cool, calm and collected with her, because she was just bananas. It's the only way I can describe her. She is bananas. So in the interrogation then, they had taken Sarah in, they had taken her phones and her laptop, and you know, they were doing their investigation, and during her interrogation they brought out some videos that they had found on her phone. And these videos tell a slightly different story than Sarah, of course. These videos show Sarah videoing George in the suitcase, begging her to help him get out. and all she could do was laugh. When he said things to her like, Sarah babe, can't breathe, let me out, her response would have been, well, that's what it feels like when you cheat on me. Or, Sarah babe, I feel like I can't breathe, and please Sarah, please babe, please let me out. That's what it feels like when you're choking me. And these videos, you hear him begging. She is all very adamant that she left a finger space for him to push the zip out. But of course, he's on the inside, not the outside. So getting that zip open is not as easy as people might think. It's also very hard when you are cramped into a suitcase. You're folded, he had to fold himself, I would imagine, in a way to get in. So he's not even getting proper air. He's not sitting straight. So even asking her is wasting oxygen on him, and she's just like, no. And he's like, Sarah, please, please. And she's all, that's my name, don't wear it out. Her response in the interrogation was, that's just how we were, that's how we played with each other. Yeah, It's just cruel. It was cruel. She left him there, she left him unable to get out. Although she states she left finger spaces for him to push out with his zip. She had been very helpful up until really the interrogation. She gave them their phone, she told them everything that she could. She was very chatty. With her version of events, she was very chatty with her version of events. But when the detectives originally had asked her if she was drunk, so she had said, remember they were out having wine, and she had said, no, we just had a bottle between us, we weren't drunk, we weren't out of it. Yeah, they sort of caught her out then, because they were like, well, if you went upstairs and slept but you weren't drunk, why did you not let him out of the suitcase first? If you weren't drunk, then you didn't pass out, you fell asleep, so which is it? She also lied, because they found 2 bottles of wine empty. They also found receipts for the 2 bottles that were bought the day before, or else the day of, I think it was the day before. So she lied about the amount of alcohol she had consumed. She obviously was very drunk. You could hear in the video her speech was slurred, just drunkenness, and obviously she went upstairs and she passed out. But she also wasn't for letting him out of that suitcase, so did she pass out, or did she just go, I'm going to fall asleep and just tell everybody I was just tired, I just went to bed? Well, you just don't know. But, so Sarah was waiting to get her swabs done on her face. She's already had her swabs done, she's waiting to get her nails swabbed. And they were explaining to her that he also had other injuries on his body, and they wanted to know where they come from. So he had a big laceration along here, he had a big massive bruise bump on his head, he had a few other cuts and bruises up his arms, and they were like, can you explain how he got this? She was like, I didn't touch him, I didn't touch him, I didn't do it, I didn't touch him. And no, I suppose technically she didn't physically put her hands on him. However, she did get that suitcase and fling it about with him in it. Threw him down the stairs, in fact, I think is what it was. So not only was he lying drunk, unable to breathe, and then bruised, and his head had been hit on top of it all, before she just left him and went to bed. As calmly as you like. I just went to bed. Yeah, it's fine. She didn't have any explanation for these. She just kept saying, I didn't touch him, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. Detectives were just having none of it. She just was a rambler. She rambled and rambled on about nonsense that they just didn't even want to hear. Our relationship was good. It went from our relationship was good till, well, I'm good. I'm good. Well, you're going to get arrested. You're not so good. And there's a poor man dead. He's not so good. She went on about asking the police about the funeral and who's going to tell his parents, and his parents are going to blame her. And they're like, well, why? Why would his... Oh, I don't like you. I'm the white girl, so they don't like me. And they probably don't like you because you're quite toxic. And I helped him so much, and who's going to arrange the funeral? I should be arranging the funeral. And it's like, you murdered the guy. Nobody wants you there. Nobody wants you near the funeral. Nobody wants you near the body. It was baffling. at this point she still hadn't quite realised what was going on. She didn't quite catch on to the fact that she was actually going to be arrested. So she asked, oh, when you come over to speak to me again, are you going to give me notice? Are you going to just burst on in? You know, I really don't want my son being around this, because I think at this point now she was staying with her ex-husband and her son. And the police were like, we have already explained, we will be as considerate as we possibly can. She wanted her phone back for her son. She wanted her laptop back for her son. You know, needless to say, the son spent the majority of the time with his dad. So I just cannot with this woman. Again, I don't know how people kept their patience with her, because I would have been like, would you just shut up? We know you're lying, just give it a rest. We don't want to hear from you anymore. But they were very professional, very professional. But asking these sorts of questions, as in, I don't know what to do next, what should I do, are you going to come? This was her way of trying to gauge whether she was under arrest or not, and not just, oh, I just don't know, I just don't know what to do. This was her looking them to tell, and they just would not give it up. They just were like, you know, we can't tell you what to do now, you know, we can't answer that for you. They just, I think at this point they had really just had enough of her as well. They were just waiting on the lab coming up to give her fingernails a swab to see if it was her that had been, you know, hitting him. He also had scratch marks down his back, but she said that was from the main intimate. So we'll leave that one where it is, because she's just nuts as it is. Once police arrested her, she kept saying, oh, it wasn't intentional, it wasn't intentional. The policeman was like, it doesn't matter whether it was intentional or not. He is dead and you put him in there. Just the whole way through was ridiculous. I would never lock someone in a suitcase. And they're like, but that's what you did. You put him in a suitcase and you left him. I would never do that. I would never do that. That's exactly what she did. That is exactly what she did. And by saying I didn't mean it or I fell asleep, she really genuinely thought she was going to get away with murder. And she didn't. Or she isn't. Unfortunately, at this point, she still hasn't even went on trial. We're now in 2022. I think through all of the COVID and whatnot, she just kept getting pushed back and pushed back. So I will be keeping a very close eye out to see what she gets. Hopefully she'll get second-degree murder, I think is what's on the table. Because she's also pleading not guilty. Even though there's evidence on the phone, there's videos on the phone of her taunting him while he's begging for his life in that suitcase. She intentionally went to bed, as much as she's like, it wasn't intentional, I didn't do it, it wasn't intentional, we're so good, I just don't understand. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the outcome of that trial is. I'm actually quite hoping that they have it on like that court TV thing they have, because it will be an interesting watch, I think. Just because she's so bananas and so thinking she's getting away with everything, and I didn't do it and I loved him, we were in love and he was my partner. And yeah, so that's the story of Sarah Boone and Jorge Torre Jr. It's a short one, this one, because I couldn't find, like I said, the background information, so it's short this week. Also, it was short enough just for me to get through it without coughing. But yeah, so basically another suitcase killer, only this time I reckon she actually did do it, and she'll probably go to jail. And hopefully it would be preferable if it was first degree murder, but that would be very hard to prove because it has to be preempted, and I don't know if they would class that as more of an opportune moment that she took rather than planning it. But yeah, poor George and his poor kids. What a way to go. Suffocation inside a suitcase. When you think you've had a wonderful day with your partner and you have done all these wonderful activities to keep yourselves from arguing. And that's basically what it was. And then that's it. She puts you in a suitcase and you die. Oh, well, she puts you in a suitcase. She tortures you, taunts you, and then you die. So yeah, Sarah Boone, give her a look. You'll be entertained if nothing else. So yes, we lightish one this week. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I am looking forward to doing another one really soon. Hopefully I get rid of this cold and I start feeling so much better again, and I won't be in my loungewear next time. So yeah, enjoy what's left of your Saturday and your rest of your weekend. I know I'm going to, and I shall see you next time. Bye.